people told him, no, we saw the ambush. He didn't lose. You lost. You cheated. Give us 100 camels. They kept on and on and on. Finally, Zuhair ibn Qais got so angry, he killed the brother of Hudayfa. He threw a spear at him, killed him. That started the war between Abs and Dhibyan. You know how long that war lasted? 40 years over a stupid horse race. 40 years. That's how long the war lasted. Now, what happened was, and this is a very interesting story, much later, after many, many people were killed from Ghatafan, to the point where Zuhair ibn Qais, you know what he ended up doing? He went to Oman, became a Christian, and spent the last days of his life weeping over the war he started. Because he said he could never look at anybody from his tribe, because he'd caused so much suffering and bloodshed amongst these people. So, what happens? There's a man, Al-Harith, Al-Absi, Harith ibn Auf. This man, he asked his cousin, Kharija bin Sinan. He asked him, which tent of the Arabs do you think would not let me marry his daughter? And he said, definitely Aus al-Ta'i. He'd never let you marry his daughter. So what's he do? This is typical male problem. He gets on his camel and he heads for this guy's tent to ask for his daughter. Of all it's the thing that he can't get, that's the thing he wants. This is the human problem. So he gets there, and this man, Aus, comes out, and he says, An'am sabahan. He says, An'am sabahan. Good morning, good morning. He said, what are you doing up here, Ya Sayyid al-Arab? He said, I want to marry your daughter. He said, get the hell out of here. Right? I mean, really, that's pretty much what he said. This made Al-Harith furious. He takes off with his cousin, and they're leaving. So what does Aus do? He goes into the house. His wife says, what happened? What just happened? Who was that? He said, it was Al-Harith bin Aus, Sayyid al-Arab. And he said, what did he want? He wanted to marry one of my daughters. She said, if he's the Sayyid al-Arab, why didn't you marry one of the daughters to him? And he said, that's a good point. It's just he got me off guard and I was angry. And she said, well, go make amends. He said, I can't. What's done is done. She said, what do you mean what's done is done? You mess everything up and then you're not going to go fix it? Go out there. And he says, what do I say? He said, just tell him you got him in a bad mood. And tell him come back and we'll work things out. So he goes, and Al-Harith initially is angry. He comes. What's he do? He says, I want you to choose one of my daughters. I have 3 daughters. The first one comes out. She says, I don't want to marry him. This is right. Arab women had no rights. She said, I don't want to marry him. He says, why not? She says, first of all, I'm not that good looking. I'm not his cousin. And he's going to take me far away. And he'll grow tired of me, divorce me, and then what? So he says, good point. Bring the second daughter. She comes. I want you to marry this man. What do you say? Look, my first sister's better looking than I am, and I don't have any talents, and I don't want to go far away from you because who's going to protect me if he gets feisty with me? Good point. Finally, the hope is on the last daughter, the little one. Her name Buhaisa. She comes in, and he says, listen, Al-Harith wants to marry you. What do you say? She said, well, given that I'm the most attractive of my sisters, I'm extremely talented, and I have a most distinguished father, I don't see how he could refuse me. And then, if he treats me badly, God will definitely let him have it. So he says, great. He tells her, they get married. As they're moving out, they set up a tent next to the house. He goes in to consummate the marriage. And that's a nice word for things people do on their wedding night. So when he gets in there, she says, what kind of a woman do you take me for? We're right next to my father and my brothers. No, let's go. So they get on, they're driving. A little ways out, they're a ways out. He tells his cousin, listen, you go up ahead and I'll catch up with you later. Fine. He stops sets up the tent. And she says, what kind of a woman do you think I am? I mean, this is the way people that take women in wars behave. Take me to your home, slaughter sheep, make a big festival. And he thinks, this is a high-minded woman. So he takes her, and then his cousin says, hey, listen, did you do what you wanted to do? And he said no, and he explains them. And so they get back. He does a big festival. When it's all done, he comes in. how's things now? She said, I want to ask you one question. What kind of a man are you? Because I thought you were a man of honor, but I want to ask you one question. How is it that you can delight in women when there are people, Arabs right now, killing each other over a horse race? She said, go out, if you want me as a wife, go out and spread peace amongst these men and end this bloodshed. And so he goes out and tells his cousin, and he says, this is a high-minded woman, and she will give you great sons. So let us go out and do this. They went out and they determined, the Abs and the Dibyan agreed that if they would count all of the dead, whoever had the most killed, they would pay camels, blood writ. These two men, from their own wealth, 3,000 camels to end this war. And this is when Zuhair wrote his mu'allaqah in praise of these two men for what they did. But I think it's Buhaysa that he should have written the mu'allaqah about. Because that is where it has to come from. It's the women in our homes. They're the ones that can change this situation more than anybody else. Our women need to be like Buhaysa and get our men squared away. And I really mean that. You are the vicegerents of God. And extremism is here to stay, folks. This is the most extreme society, and I'm talking about the whole globe right now. We're in the most extreme conditions in human history. We've got extreme eating. You know what we drink now when I grew up, small was like this, medium was like that, large was like, now that's medium. They call it a big gulp. That's extreme eating. The plates they give, really, in restaurants, it's enough. I used to eat, we used to have 10 people around a plate like that. And they're all walking around. They can't even control themselves anymore. Seriously, they're having to take out Victorian seats in the theaters of England because the American fat behinds can't fit in them anymore. This is the reality of we're extreme. We're eating extreme. We're extreme. Look at the extreme sports in this country. You know what Sky says? You know Sky Television? It says, if your religion is football, then worship with us. You know, they call us idiots because our community kill people over what somebody said about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They kill each other because some football team beat another football team. Seriously. These are sufaha everywhere. But what is more stupid, to kill over a stupid football game or to kill because the greatest person in your life has been desecrated, denigrated? They're both wrong. But don't call our people fools and not call your own people fools. Seriously, this is extremism in its worst qualities. Look at the pornography that they have, the denigration of these poor women. You know, the word in Arabic for oppression is related to the word for prostitute, because prostitutes are the most oppressed human beings on the planet. And there's sexual slavery all over this planet. And some of the biggest downloaded things on the Google search engine, according to their own statistics, the pornography is in Muslim countries. So what's happened to people? Really think about this. We're in extreme conditions. We need the abolition from our nafs. This is real. You know, the Arabs say, Al-hurru abdun ma tama' wal-abdu hurrun ma gana'. You know, the free man is a slave as long as he desires other than God. And the slave is a free man as long as he's content. This is real abolition. This is what William Wilberforce, his movement needs to be resurrected, but we need liberation from our own egos. Jazakumullah khairan. It's been an honor. I love you. I love this country. I want to see good for this country, really. And this government, there's much to say about the bad things of this government. And you know my criticism. I'm against the war in Iraq. I want the war